न जानामि योगं जपं नैव पूजां नतोऽहं सदा सर्वदा शम्भुतुभ्यं जराजन्म दुःखागतातप्यमानं प्रभो पाहि आपन्नमामीश शम्भो।
A warm welcome to all the devotees. On Raksha Sutra English, we are going to narrate wonderful holy stories to all the devotees. From the book Miracles of Love by Ram Das Ji, an exclusive devotee of Maharaj Ji. Please listen carefully, all the devotees. Take chai. Take chai. Tea. Chai means tea. But Maharaj Ji, I have already had chai. Take chai. Okay. Go take kanna. Kanna means food. Maharaj Ji, I just ate an hour ago. Maharaj Ji wants you to take kanna now. Okay. Maharaj Ji sent these sweets over for you, but I couldn't eat another thing. It's Maharaj Ji's wish that you have these sweets. Okay. Maharaj Ji sent me to give you chai. Oh no, not again. I am only doing my duty. It is Maharaj Ji's wish. Okay. A devotee just arrived from Delhi with a large bucket of sweets. Maharaj Ji is distributing it. He wants you to come. Oh my God, I will explode. It's prasad. Thank you, Maharaj. Oh no, not the apples too. Thank you, Maharaj Ji. While many experienced Maharaj Ji's qualities of timelessness or love at darshans, everybody who came before him felt his concern that they be fed. Often even before you could sit down, he would insist that you take prasad. People just never went away from him hungry. I stopped at a gasoline station in Berkeley, California, run by a Sikh fellow. I thought I would practice my Hindi with him. When he found out that I stayed at the temple at Kainchi, the first thing he said was, "Oh, you belong to that Baba." I visited him. He gave me puris, fried bread. Nobody else gives you food just for nothing. Many of the poor people in the areas around the temple or on pilgrimages came to depend upon the food that was freely given for their survival. But for the rest of us, such excessive feeding and continuous preoccupation with food seemed to indicate that the food represented something more. My first impressions focused on all the food that was present. I had just come down from Nepal, where I had been on a strict Buddhist meditation trip for a long time, and I saw all these people sitting down and stuffing their faces. I thought, oh, they don't know where it's at. Look at the gluttons. Then I sat down to eat, and in a few days I was stuffing my face. I had never before experienced such a feeling as that. Literally, I could not get enough to eat. It was as if I were feeding my spirit. He offered the para a sweet back to me to eat, and oddly enough I turned it down. What was in my mind was that I felt completely filled and someone else should have it, so he gave it to someone else. At another darshan, he had filled my hands with peras, which I promptly ate. Shortly thereafter, he started to give me another huge handful, which I turned down, thinking that I would had my share. an Indian behind me became upset and told me I should never turn down Maharajji's prasad, that I should always take what he offers to me. Then of course I felt bad. Next Maharajji offered me another handful, which I joyfully received. I arrived at the temple in November and lived there continuously until the end of March. During all that time I was fed well daily, and yet not a penny was ever asked of me in compensation. I couldn't understand it. Here I was a relatively wealthy Westerner, and the Indians had such a hard time economically, and yet they would not accept payment. So I just kept sneaking money into the box at the temple. Ramdas. I was trying to hide somewhere around the temple, across the courtyard from where he came out the door, and when he came out, I got pushed by the people right up to the tucket. I tried always to be far away and hide myself, so when I got pushed near to him, I tried to hide behind the column, but people pushed me, and Maharajji came out. I was scared and crying, and Maharajji gave me a pear. When I ate the pear, it made me feel like there was water all over inside me. It was like eating love alive. Since that day, this pear has always been in my mind, and nothing has ever matched this feeling. I have never eaten another pear since that day. One time, when my daughter was young and still with us, we stopped in Bhowali en route to Kachi for darshan. She wanted jalebis. Jalebis means a sweet, but there were none. I said, when we get to Kachi, there will be some. But when we got there, we found that it was a Hindu fast day, Ekadasi, literally 11th day in lunar month, and so only boiled potatoes were served. As we entered Maharajji's room, to our surprise, a man arrived with a large basket full of jalebis. Maharajji said, "Give some to that girl first," pointing to my daughter. "He knows everything." A sadhu once came to the temple and upbraided Maharajji. "You do nothing for people. You don't feed or help people." Maharajji said, "Give him a room and food and money." Yet all the devotees felt like doing was beating the sadhu. They got him around a corner to do so. But Maharajji yelled at them. After the sadhu had eaten, he became very quiet. Maharajji said, "The thing you people don't understand is that he is hungry. He hasn't eaten for 3 days. What else would he do but what he did?" Once I said, "Why do you feed so many people, and why so much? I could eat 4 chapatis, flat unleavened bread, and stay alive." Maharajji answered, "We have an inner thirst for food. We don't know of it. Even if you don't feel you can eat, your soul has a thirst for food. Take prasad." The nature of the food that was served around Maharajji is worthy of note, for though it satisfied our souls, our intellects were often appalled. The usual diet at the temple consisted of white rice, puris, and potatoes, both fried, and sweets of almost pure white sugar. The diet was starch, grease, and sugar, and much black tea. All the sensitivity that the Western preoccupation with diet had awakened in us screamed at this diet. And yet this was prasad. Did you reject prasad, or did you give up your dietary models? What did you do when the love came in the form of starch, grease, sugar and tea. Greasy potatoes were one thing. A blessing from the Guru, however, was an entirely different matter. I previously believed that a saint should observe certain restrictions as to food. Also, I never tea or coffee, and I ate a very simple, small diet. I never took medicines. I wondered how people could take so many pills. After Maharajji left, I caught a cold. At first, the doctors thought it was a flu. Then they said it was a more serious disease. So I had to take 15 pills a day to cure it. It was all Maharajji's play. The doctors also told me to put on weight. So from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I ate. I wondered how I could eat so much when previously I had only eaten 2 chapatis at a meal. All my old ideas vanished. This was similar to what happened when I came to Kainchi, prior to which time I never drank tea. On the first day at Kainchi, I did not take it, and on the second day when Maharajji asked me if I would drink tea, I didn't reply. The third morning he asked me, "Do you want tea? You don't want it. Here you should drink tea. It's a cold place." So this time I drank tea, and since that day I take anything, tea, coffee, whatever. Story is long, so further story will be narrated to all the devotees in next episode. To listen the wonderful holy stories of Maharajji, please like, share, subscribe the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell icon. Write in the comment box Jai Neem Karoli Babaji Maharaj and Jai Ramdas Ji.